Let's close out Unit 8 with a tough lesson, but we'll get through it. The Holocaust. List the sequence of events of the Holocaust. That's our big takeaway here. 1945, the Allied powers are closing in. Soviet Union's coming in hot and hard, and Hitler commits suicide. Victory in Europe Day, May 8th, 1945. Once we are in control, then we get to see, oh, this is what was happening in Germany the whole time. Before we talk about what was happening in Germany during World War II, let's give some background. Anti-Semitism. This is prejudice against Jews or hatred of Jews or discrimination of Jews. This is wrong. No group, Jews, you name the minority group, you name any group, no group should be hated for being a part of a group. Even being in a clique in school, being the nerds or the jocks or being in band, no one should be hated for being a part of a group. No one should be hating, period. But hatred is wrong, and hatred of a group for whatever reason, and often these reasons are false, is not good. But let's focus mainly on anti-Semitism, prejudice against Jews, hatred of Jews. Why do people hate Jews? Well, same reason they hate anyone. They hate a group because the group is different. The Jews are different. And let me give you the reasons. So all these reasons I'm going to give you, they're indefensible. They're not right. They're false. They're nonsense. But you're going to hear them often from racist people, from people who choose to hate different groups. One of the reasons you see hate is different. Oh, they're different than us. We don't like people that are different. Pretty common throughout history and the evolution of mankind. Groups have hated other groups because they're different. We are now at a point in civilization where we shouldn't hate people for being different. We're all the same. We should treat every individual equally and treat them the way that we want to be treated. We also should treat groups the same way, even if that group is a little different than us. Even if a group has different religious beliefs, has different cultural, economic beliefs, political beliefs. If a group is different than you, that's okay. We need to be tolerant. It is not okay to hate a group because they're different than us. Social Darwinism, one of the reasons that was listed, oh, it's okay to hate Jews because they're inferior, they're weak, they're lesser, their DNA is not as strong as ours. That's false, that's fake. That is fake, that is fake, that is fake. There's no science that backs that up. It's a fake reason created to defend anti-Semitism. They're not assimilating. Again, this is false. Jewish people have assimilated. There are plenty of Jewish people that live in your communities that you probably don't even know are Jewish. And even if they haven't assimilated, they don't have to be like you. They don't have to be like everyone else. And you don't have to be like everyone else. You are free and you have the right to choose which way you want to live your life. It's nonsense. And then economic problems. Often your economic problems are your economic problems. Often a nation or a country's economic problems are a nation's economic problems. The reason that we don't have jobs is because we don't have jobs. Instead of we making changes, instead of you making changes, instead of the country making changes, often the anti-Semitic hate-filled people will say, wait a second, I can make changes and I can look at my problems and I can reflect, or I can just blame the Jews for everything and then I don't have to change anything. I'll just say, oh, well, the economic problems are their fault. It's their fault. They need to change. They need to fix things. We need to stop them. That's what happens. But the reality is the economic woes of a country are the country's problems because of the country's decisions or the people of the country. Instead, we often choose to blame others. Here's a perfect example of blaming someone else for a problem and not fixing the problem because it's something that you are doing. The Black Death, 1348 to 1351, it spreads throughout Europe. 1/3 of Europe dies. People will notice that, hey, but the Jews, they're not dying as much as everyone else. Why is that? It must be them. They must be causing this. Blame the Jews. Blame the Jews. They did this. That's false. The reason why the Jewish people were not dying with higher numbers like everyone else in Europe was because the Jewish people have been isolated because the Europeans had forced them to live in ghettos. They weren't in contact with everyone else. They were stuck together. So they weren't spreading the disease like everyone else. The other reason was based on Jewish beliefs. They washed their hands more. There wasn't this Jewish conspiracy that caused the Black Death. The Jewish people were not killing everyone through the Black Death. They were just living differently. They were cleaning their hands. And so the rest of the Europe, instead of, hey, let's see what they're doing. Let's look, wait, why are they dying less? Maybe we should copy them. No, let's blame them. And when you blame them, you don't make changes. If the people of Europe would have decided, hey, let's start washing our hands more, maybe the Black Death wouldn't have been as bad. This is a perfect example of people just quickly blaming the different group, blaming another group for all their problems. And there was no reason for it, no valid reason. And there never is a valid reason for hate. There's never a valid reason for intolerance. There's never a valid reason for discrimination or prejudice. It shouldn't happen. Treat everyone equally. Treat them the way that you want to be treated, or treat them the way they want to be treated. We often say, hey, treat people the way that you want. Well, that's sort of true, but we definitely should treat people the way they want to be treated. If someone wants to be loved, then let them be loved. Blame. Got to get it out. Got to stop doing this. This is one of the big lessons that we can learn. And I know we're kind of stepping away from the Holocaust and anti-Semitism, but this is one of the root problems that causes this. If you are in the habit of blaming people for your problems, then you don't fix your problems. If your life sucks, if you are miserable, if you don't have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or you don't have a job, or you're homeless, sure, there may be other factors that are contributing to it. But if you just blame, I don't have a girlfriend because those girls are stupid. Okay, that could be it. It could be every girl on the face of the earth is stupid, or maybe you're just a jerk. Maybe you need to work on you. Maybe you need to reflect and do things differently. Maybe you need to be more charming. Maybe you just need to listen more and stop talking and stop being rude. Maybe there's something that you're doing, but if you blame someone else, oh, they won't hire me because they're racist. Maybe that could be it. Or maybe you're just not the best employee. Maybe you're not working hard enough. Maybe there's something in you that you can do better. But if you keep blaming people for your problems, you're never going to reflect and you're never going to fix any of your issues. Don't blame. Never works. Anti-Semitism through time, pogroms during the First Crusade, the expulsion of Jews from England in 1290, the massacres of Spanish Jews in 1391, the persecution of the Jew during the Spanish Inquisition, expulsion from Spain in 1492, the Cossack massacres in Ukraine 1648-1657, the pogroms in Imperial Russia in 1821-1906, but the Holocaust in German-occupied Europe 33 through 45. This is the biggest one, and I have not even gone over all of. This is just a small sample of the problems the Jewish people have faced in the past, and there are still plenty examples of anti-Semitism listed today. Examples today of people hating Jews for no reason other than they're different. And then that they're different will start ascribing different beliefs and causing different problems and attributing different problems to them that are all false, that are not true. Let's go through it. So Hitler is going to blame all the problems of Jews. The people of Germany, we have problems. We're all struggling. The economy is collapsing. What are we going to do? Well, let's rally the people together by finding a common enemy. We'll just blame it all on the Jews. No. It's not our problem. We didn't make bad choices during World War I. We didn't make bad economic choices. We didn't elect bad politicians. The reality is we don't need to change. We don't have to fix anything. We're all cool because it was all them. It's their problem. And that will lead, unfortunately, to the Holocaust. The systematic murder of 11 million people. And so we can see here the concentration camps, the work camps, the death camps. That will attribute to probably about half of this number. The other half, 5-6 million, will die during Hitler's expansion throughout Europe as Hitler invades Sudetenland, Rhineland, France, Czechoslovakia, Poland, you name it. That's where the other half will die. And it's not just Jews, but it definitely is. The Jews will be the main focus of the Holocaust. But during the expansion and in the concentration camps and in the death camps, the Jews will be murdered. Gypsies, or the politically correct term is Roma, will be murdered. Freemasons are murdered. Jehovah's Witnesses are murdered. Homosexuals are murdered. Mentally deficient people are murdered. Mentally ill people are murdered. People with disabilities are murdered. People with incurable diseases are murdered. They're all murdered by Hitler. And that's it. That's all we need to say about that. It's terrible. Warning, don't let the cartoons lessen the horrific tragedy. Use these cartoons because a lot of learners are not auditory learners. They need to see visuals. Auditory, verbal words on the screen, it doesn't work for every student. They need visuals. And unfortunately, when you do a tragic, horrific event, you've got to have cartoons, and it may make it look kind of goofy, but I'm just trying to get the point across. So 1933, Hitler is elected chancellor. Remember, the German people are desperate. The economy has collapsed. They're willing to listen to anyone. And he says, hey, look, you guys are cool. It's not your problem. It was all the Jews, so we'll take care of them and everything will be all right. That's terrible. That's awful. But people during desperate times, just like, I don't want to make the connection between, never mind. But anyway, during desperate times throughout our history, we have looked to different leaders. During the Great Depression, maybe during current times. First step, 1933, Hitler will kick the Jewish people out of government jobs. 1935, he'll pass the Nuremberg laws, which will kick Jewish people out of all jobs. All Jewish people, because you're different, because you're a different group, you can't work anymore. It's insane. Oh, by the way, we're also going to take all of your property. Your property is gone. The government just walks in and says, oh, you're cool, but you, because you are a Jewish person, you belong to a different group that we don't like, we're going to take all of your things, we're going to take away all of your rights, and we're going to force you to walk around with a label so that we know that you are part of the bad people, the Star of David. We will label every Jewish person so that everyone knows you're the bad guys, you're the villains, all the problems are because of you. This is horrific, horrendous stuff. Kristallnacht, 1938, or the Night of Broken Glass. The Nazis will go around and break all the Jewish stores, just shatter the window, burn buildings down. They'll break into the synagogues, places of worship, break into the Jewish homes, and just make a mess of everything. And then when it's all done, the Nazis will blame it on the Jews. Unbelievable. Like, why would we break down our own stores? Why would we break down our own homes of worship? Why would we break into our own homes and smash everything up? It doesn't make any sense. You can see some of the pictures here from Kristallnacht. Insane. You can see things are getting really bad. The heat is being turned up. Jewish refugees, you can see, are trying to get out of the country, trying to go anywhere they can because they know what's coming. They know that they are going to be killed. The rights have been taken away. The property's been taken away. Their homes have been destroyed. What's next? Obviously, the Nazis are going to kill them. So the most famous is the voyage of the St. Louis. They're going to try to get out. They're going to come to America. And Franklin Delano Roosevelt, our president, FDR, the beloved historic character, will say, nah, sorry, can't come in. It's terrible. I don't know what to say. I know that a lot of Democrats and progressives are going to try to defend him in the situation. Like, what was he supposed to do? You can't let in immigrants during the Great Depression. More people taking more jobs from a country that's already got a 25% unemployment rate. That's right. Yes, economically, it's a tough situation. Politically, it's a tough situation. But these people are sent back to Europe where they end up in concentration camps and half of them die. It's terrible. You can't necessarily blame FDR, but you honestly have to look at it and say, hey, it was the wrong choice. It was a bad choice. These people, we will admit it was a hard choice, but we also, at the same time, can understand that it was likely the wrong choice, that human rights are going to be more important than economic beliefs and political beliefs. So then we get to the final solution. So this will be, we've already went through some of the early events of leading up to the Holocaust. This is really where everything goes into hyperdrive. First step is relocation to the Jews. So we've taken everything, not we, the Nazis have taken everything from the Jewish people and then forced them to live in ghettos. Next step, again, just gets worse and worse and worse. The Jewish people are forced onto trains and then shipped to concentration camps or labor camps where they're forced to work. Basically, it's a prison work camp. Remember, Jewish people have done nothing wrong. They have not committed any crimes. They've not done anything other than having the Jewish faith. They have been targeted, singled out, discriminated against, and that's worse than just discrimination. This is straight persecution. They're being forced to work in labor camps. It's not just Jewish men. It's men, women, and children. And then we get to step 3 where Hitler will just go way off the rails and just say, no. Working them to death is not good enough. Working Jewish people to death is not fast enough. What they'll do is they'll turn these work camps into death camps. And then some of these camps will just be straight death camps. Some, like Auschwitz, these were work camps that were transformed into death camps. Some of these death camps were just straight death camps. The whole engineering built behind them was the mass murder of human beings. These are not factories changed into death camps. These were from the bottom up, built to kill human beings. Unbelievable. So they would be sent into, and I apologize for the animation, but remember, the animations there are for my learners who the words don't really resonate. The audio does not work, but the visuals help those students understand the gravity or understand the message that I'm trying to get across. So they're sent into showers. Through these showers, gas comes out, and the Jewish people are killed. And then they're put into mass graves. Eventually, though, it's not good enough, it's not fast enough, but also the Nazis are trying to hide from the other German people what they are doing. And the mass graves is calling too much attention. They can see the mass graves. People can see, like, wait a second, you have a mass grave? That means you just killed a bunch of people. You can't hide a mass grave. So what they'll do is turn from gassing to cremating. They'll build these massive crematoriums. Remember, they built these things. They didn't build a crematorium for factory work. The crematorium was built exclusively for destroying the evidence, destroying the 5-6 million people killed in these concentration camps, these Jewish people who were just terribly murdered. So that is the death camps. And then also, Nazi mad scientist doctors will do horrific experiments on women, children, twins, you name it. This is not just Jewish men. This is not people who have done anything wrong. These are children being murdered and their bodies being burnt so that they can hide it. You can see famous movies like Schindler's List, Boy in Striped Pajamas. There's plenty of examples to find more about the Holocaust. You can read about it. You can watch the movies. It's important to understand. The big takeaway from this lesson is just be tolerant and get hate out of your life and stop blaming. There's lessons to be learned. Hopefully we never have a giant experience like this of genocide, but there has been genocide since then, and it's not in the distant past. Genocide and ethnic cleansing continue to happen. We have to try not to happen, but on an individual perspective, what you can do, Stop blaming. That's the first thing. Stop blaming other people for some of your problems. Reflect, think about what you are doing. Number 2, don't hate, especially other groups. Number 3, be tolerant. If someone's different than you, if someone says something that you really, really don't like, someone says something that you really, really disagree with, do not use that as a reason to hate them. Do not use that as a reason to fight them. Do not use that as a reason to be prejudiced against them. We have to accept, love, we have to be tolerant. So stop blaming. There are problems in this world, but if you blame, you never change, nothing ever gets fixed. You always blame someone else. You say, well, you need to fix it. My life stinks because my mom, blah, 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 blah. Mom, you need to change. Well, guess what? Then you're going to have to wait on them to change. It's probably never going to happen. A lot of the problems are going to come from within. Stop blaming other people. If things are going to get done, then you're going to do them. If you want your life to be better, then it's going to be your life. Your happiness should depend on you, not anyone else. It's no one else's job to make you happy. If you blame other people, they're never going to fix things. It starts with you. Number 2, don't hate. And then number 3, be tolerant. Hopefully those things will resonate with you.